Welcome back. Thank you for coming back to see my channel, Simply Purple. Little bit about why purple is so special to me. My grandmother had passed away when my mother was very young, and she found out after she was grown and had children that her mother's favorite color was purple. At the time, my favorite color was not purple. But after I turned 10 years old, for some reason, purple just came alive to me. And it was just the most beautiful color. And it really didn't have anything to do with my mother liking purple. But it just, for some reason, came alive to me. I have tons of purple things. I love decorating my house in purple. I love wearing purple. And it's a color of royalty. And my name is Gina, and it means queen. So I'm a queen. So I'm clothed in purple on a regular basis. And when my mother passed when I was 19, purple became a signifying sign that I was moving in the right direction. My first house that God blessed me and gifted me with, there was no way that I could afford it. I didn't have good credit. I didn't have a down payment. I didn't have closing costs. And I was homeless. And I was looking for multifamily houses so that I could have rental income, so I could afford to pay the bills in my own strength. And God had given me a dream to go buy a house. And that was all I had. And I said, I know this is what I got to do. And in the process, I ended up homeless, which was devastating. But I still held on to that hope, held on to that dream. He told me, and he's a promise keeper. He said, go get a house. He didn't say I had to have anything that man says I had to have to get that house. He said, go get it. So in that process, about 9 months in, I was feeling at the lowest. I had had 6 contracts on houses, and I was so spent and frustrated and just empty. And I said, Lord, you got to do something. I can't do this one more time if this doesn't work. And my realtor said, we got something that you weren't really looking for, but just come look at this house. And I drove up to the house, and I said, I can't afford that. I can't have a single family house. And I saw the purple flowers outside. And I said, well, let me just see. And I went inside, and it had wall-to-wall mauve, which is a pinky purple color. And the upstairs bedroom was lavender. And I went to my realtor and I said, write the contract. Long story short, 4 weeks later, I walked into that home with no down payment, bad credit, no closing costs. And I had keys to my own home, and I was homeless for 40 weeks. God is so good. He is a man of his word, and he promises to never leave us. Even in our darkest moments, here it is, I am trying to stand on a promise of God and lose my residence that I had in the process. And it wasn't directly any fault of my own. It was just the way the circumstances fell. I had a contract on a house. It was going to close. I knew I was going to move. And No house. The seller was the issue. 6 times. The seller backed out. The seller didn't have their finances right. The seller wasn't ready to go to closing. And every time, God made it so that if we went to closing, I was okay. But it didn't happen. It wasn't what God wanted for me. He wanted for me what He had for me. There's things that God has for you that is not the idea of what you think you should have. And when you are reaching for His promises and standing on His word, you got to let go of what you think it should look like, what you think that perfect man should be like, that perfect house should be like, that perfect car. When I came to move out of state, I came on nothing but faith. I gave up my car and I said, Lord, you told me, let it go. Now, lead me to what you have for me. I walked on the lot and told the man, you got my car on this lot. My daddy said so. And he says, oh, if your daddy said so, I must have your car here. He said, who's your daddy? I said, God is my daddy. He said, oh, well, we better find your car then. And the car wasn't supposed to be ready for 10 days as we're going through all the little paperwork and him explaining all the stuff. All of a sudden, it's ready. And long story short, in 2 hours, I walked off the lot, paid in full, registered and insured with hard plates, 8 hours after I set foot in a new state. God is that good that He can do it suddenly in a split second. It doesn't take a whole lot of anything, but you got to believe and you got to know, you got to stand on what He promised you. And I just want to encourage you that when you are trusting and believing God for something, stand on what He promised you. No matter what it looks like, stand on it. Because He's not a man that He should lie. His word will not return void, and He will bring to pass everything that He promised. When you doubt Him, when you give up, when you lose your hope, that's when it's delayed even longer. Just be encouraged to hold on to the promises that God has made for you.